Hello. Hola. Sí. Okay. Bon dia. Buenos días. Welcome. There are a lot of noise here. It's very noisy, this place. But okay. Okay. First of all, I want to introduce myself. I am Marc Garriga from desideDatum Data Company. Okay. I will be the moderator of this session. This session is the solution talk, IoT and disruptive technologies for cities. I'd like to thank organizers for inviting me, and of course, thanks for the speakers of these sessions to be here. Okay. This panel is a solutions talk panel. So this is a practical session with very short talks about implemented solutions, products, focus on how to apply the ideas. Okay. We have 7 speakers, not 8. And we have only 1 hour, so each speaker has 5 or 6 minutes. And at the end of the session, the audience, you will have enough time, I hope, to do questions for the speakers. Okay? Let's go to the presentations. The first speaker will be Mrs. Daniela Vasari. Daniela works at Pluservice company, an Italian company that in the field of integrated IT systems for passenger transport. She will speak about bus fleets case in Ravenna city, I think, in Italy. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. So, hello to everybody, and yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. Thank you to all, and yeah. So today we present you an Italian use case located in the center of Italy, so in Ravenna city, where two different innovative technological solutions have been performed within a European project called the European Bus System of the Future. And so the implementation of these two innovative technology solutions are related to the intelligent garage and predictive maintenance, and the application of the IT standard for the communication within the existing fleet. So I mean the IT per PT standard communication. The demonstration has been performed in real operational life thanks the cooperation with the transport operator located in this city called Start Romagna, and which are so the main objectives of this use case. So the first one is provide the analytic tool, the analytic data on the state of the health of the fleet, of the bus fleet, so in the engine, useful for the transport operator to decide about different maintenance activities. And the second point is predict and prevent the upcoming breaks of the main components of the fleet. So this project, this pilot, started from the transport operator needs about the necessity to reduce the maintenance cost. In this case, we use and we perform the analysis of the oil. Why? Because the analysis of the oil can tell a lot about the health of the engine, of the bus fleet, and also this analysis can tell about the part becoming corroded or not, and so maybe inform the transport operator the possibility to postpone or not the maintenance, the ordinary maintenance activity. The innovative predictive maintenance allows not only to reduce the maintenance costs about the staff and the time spending for the maintenance activity, but also to reduce the cost about the spare parts or reduce the breaks. And of course, the reducing the quantity of waste material. For this scope, we use two main innovative technological solutions. So the oil quality filter and the sensor installed in the bus. So here in this picture, you can see how the predictive maintenance works, and on the left you can see the oil quality sensor and the filter installed in the bus. This data will be merged and collected thanks to the onboard unit installed in the vehicle, and then data coming from this sensor and from the CAN bus are sent to the back office system that can manage and in real time all collected data. Here you can see the specific pictures about these tools and the sensor that are provided by an external company called Mel Systems, and we test this innovative solution in 6 different buses, 3 methane fueled and 3 diesel fueled, of course, because there are difference also in the using of the oil. All these collected data from sensor and from CAN bus are collected and in a specific module, software module dedicated for this, and we collected also the oil analysis coming from an external laboratory, because in this case we need to absolutely to check over time the concentration of different materials and metals in the oil. In this case you can see, for example, this is an example about the concentration over time of the copper. In this case we have a very high level of copper in the oil, so this means something is wrong, something is happened about, for example, a bushing, so that is a specific part in the bus. So the analysis of the oil can absolutely help the transport operator to change the ordinary maintenance activity. Here you can see how this module can collect different measures coming from, for example, also the CAN bus, so the temperature of the oil, the pressures of the wheels, and so on. And on the bottom of this slide, you can see the punctual values drawing in this graph. So in real time, the operator can exactly know what happened in the fleet. Of course, is it possible to fix threshold? And if it happens, an exceeding of this threshold, immediately the software can inform the operator. So just to give you an idea, this is the main achievement we reached. The oil life extension. So actually, the transport operator located in Ravenna decided to postpone the oil replacement from 40,000 kilometers to 50,000 kilometers, because this sensor and filter can help to postpone, of course, this oil replacement with a substantial reduction of the cost, of course. I think the time is finished, and okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Daniela. The second speaker is Jorge Saraiva. George is yes. No, because the first one is not here, so you are the second one. Okay. George is an active keynote speaker in the smart cities and a smart economy. Yeah. Okay. And in the smart whatever you want. Okay. It's your time.
Does it work? Okay. Well, good morning, everybody. It's quite a sensation being here. I've been coming to this event since its beginning. I started coming to Smart Cities 2011, and I keep going up until this year. So it's fantastic talking with you guys. And it's also something that I need to share with you is what have I learned since the first edition of Smart Cities and this edition of Smart Cities. And what I've learned is very simple, is that the only place in smart cities where you can find a straight line, it's on this event. Things like that, it doesn't happen in any project in smart cities. This is a concept that comes from the companies that it's called the wow effect. We're trying to evolve from something that we have to something better with more technology and more improved. That is not smart cities. Why someone is trying to evolve from an old system to a new system, just adding more and more technology, in the smart cities world, we just try to say, why a car? Let's make the car autonomous. And why don't we put just infotainment in the side of the car? And by the way, if the cars can connect with each other, why don't we think about the traffic and change the roads and make new laws and new conditions to live? And why the hell are we talking about cars? Why don't we make just autonomous flying cars? That's exactly the thing, the spirit of smart cities, what I call the WTF spirit. Nothing to do in smart cities about evolution. It's really disrupting, it's really innovating in a new way. And we only have 12 years to stop the ecology problems, and we cannot do it by evolving the old problem to a new problem. And this is exactly what I mean with the WTF situation. We need to focus on cities on the WTF approach. What I mean by that is just focus on examples like Uber, that is, every time he comes to a city, the professional taxi drivers are fired. In some cities, 30% of jobs in professional taxi drivers are lost. And you can say, yeah, that's cool, but other people just get an extra revenue by renting their wheels. That's right, but the WTF continues in these cases. Uber just announced that it intends to buy 500,000 cars to Tesla if they are completely autonomous. This is the reality. This is the WTF effect. It's like the main chain in hotels, like it's called Airbnb, and they only have 3,000 employees. And the Hilton, which is smaller nowadays, it employs 152 people in their hotel chains. And this is creating a reality, a WTF reality, by the way, which is last year, 82% of the global wealth was only divided by 1% of the population. This is exactly what's happening with WTF approach. And the funny thing, why I'm talking about this, is that according to McKinsey, 40% of jobs will be lost to automation. And according to the Global Forum, 62% of the global population will be living in cities in 15 years from now. What I mean is that if you live in a city, I live in a city, so in 15 years from now, one of us will be out of a job. So this is exactly what's happening with the WTF effect coming into cities. So the question is, what it is, WTF? I'm not going to ask you to give me ideas because I only have 5 minutes. That's a good excuse. Well, but WTF means, what's the future? The difference between any ordinary company and project and working on smart cities is whatever we do, we need to be aware that we are provoking a societal change. It's not disruption as it is, because we've been used to live in disruption. All our lives is being disrupted by a few companies that are changing completely the society and the way we work. But the point that is driving now is it's dangerous. We are coming into a new disruptive era. So someone will be the next disruptive. And the danger is it's better that the next disruptor are the cities. Otherwise, cities will have the problems. And cities are aware of this. We can see already most of the projects in cities, all the cities, they already have innovation labs and living labs and whatever kinds of labs. They even have, when labs doesn't work, innovation doesn't work, they even try to get something like, yeah, let's make an incubator in the city just to push the startups, and let's make an accelerator for startups in the city. And that's the reason why the cities do that. There's a good friend of mine that's mayor in the city, and he says, wow, we're doing all this because we cannot attract large corporations into city, so we just transforming the city in a maternity of the next startup. So we are a kind of maternity of unicorns. And that's very good. If you manage to breed unicorns, that's very good. But the thing is, most of these projects are still on the wow effect. We're just improving the economic model to a new economic model. But we need to think about the WTF effect, which means a society change. And if you talk about Uber, I make a question to everybody. Would you, if you have all the assets and all the money and the idea and all the technology, would you start a Uber in your hometown? Would you do it? Because your neighbors will look at you and say, this guy is doing something illegal. It's not having license for that. The taxi drivers, you better not take a taxi if you do that in your hometown. You'll be kicked out. And this is the main effect. The disruptors are not being supported by all the labs and everything that you have it. Innovation, yes. Disruption in societal change, no, because the city is not yet prepared to a societal change. And that's the smartest thing you can do in a cities. So my question is very simple. How can you solve it? I belong to the European Union. And our solution is we are starting to launch a global network or a European network of policy labs. If you really want to address the societal changes and control the technologies and make the city a new disruptor, you need to focus in 3 areas. Number 1, if it's a societal change, you need to focus on having the society engaged. Otherwise, it's going to be the society all together, as we say in this event, to build the next city. Second, you need to have regulatory test beds or regulatory sandboxes in the city, and you need to have it in a standardized way. So that's the point. You need to start testing and have the law going along with the evolution of the new tests, not coming like a big bomb from you, but then you have to change the licensing system that you have in the city. And third, you need to have it all combined. It's an European network because all cities are going to suffer the societal change. So they need to cooperate. They need to share experiences. And that's what we're trying to do in the European Union. Like pretty much the slogan of this event, the policy lab, it's almost here. You can already visit us and in the EIP booth. And the main point is the slogan of this event. Let's together create cities to live in. Thank you.
Okay, George, thank you for this presentation. Of course, we need to involve more people in the smart cities, no? Okay, the third speaker will be Klaus Heidinger. He is the head of City of IT Solutions in Siemens. His role involves working with city leaders, providing methodologies, systems, and tools such as the City Performance Tool, okay, and CTR management systems. So, your time. You want that one?
Yes, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Well, 5 minutes, what shall I tell you? Well, I'm representing Siemens. We are an engineering company, 80 billion revenue. We provide infrastructure, technology, electrification. And I'm part of a team. We are based in London. We support city decision maker on their way to cope with all the issues popping up in cities. And there's a huge contradiction whenever we talk about cities, and forget for a minute all smart stuff. The problem is, as a mayor, you have to support the economic growth of a city. You have to attract investors, you have to attract talents. So most of the cities we have today, at least some exception, the east part of Europe, are growing cities. They grow, in average, a European city is growing 0.5% every year, so that means in 10 years your population went up by 5%. Everyone needs energy, everyone needs building space, everyone wants to be mobile. Means with a growing city, all your carbon emission, your air emissions going up. And the contradiction is that the targets are the complete opposite. The targets are we have to reduce carbon emissions by 30–40% to limit the global warming at 1.5 centigrade. And that's where we help cities. And I just brought one example today, which is a methodology we are providing right now to more than 40 cities using that. So the question is, when I use technology, which of the technology is helping me to support economic growth and on the same time helping me to achieve my environmental targets on carbon emissions, on air quality. There are certain KPIs, and also for the politician layer, how many jobs would I create in my city, and what is CapEx, OpEx? So those are the cities we are currently supporting, and I can tell you every city is completely different. So that's one of our biggest lessons learned. It doesn't make sense to compare one city with another city and tell everyone this Copenhagen doing things so well, or Singapore is doing things so well. It's not working, because every city has its own baseline, its own behavior pattern. So if you really want to look specifically to a city, you have to go, let's say, to do a deep dive on their specific situation. So one of the main topics right now we are facing in China and also in Europe is the issue of air emission. You know, there's a correlation between life expectancy and air quality. And you probably heard about the discussions in Germany that they want to do a diesel ban and don't allow diesel cars to enter certain parts of the city. We believe we have to cope on a different way when we talk about air emissions. And the way we want to do it is, first of all, we need to have a neural network, which is really self-learning. And with this neural network, we have to be able to predict the air quality over the next 3 to 5 days with an accuracy rate of 90%. So if I would be a mayor and if I would know on Friday this week I run on exceedance of air quality in some parts of my city, I would have enough time start reacting, set measures in place which helps me, let's say, to overcome the situation. So we have identified about 17 short-term levers a city could activate, and it's basically traffic flow optimization, model split, move people from car to public transport, and then, of course, reduce the traffic. But diesel ban is really something you do at the very end, you know, if all the other measures are not working anymore. And as we are a technology company, we have a deep, let's say, understand how technology works, and we have identified about 40 technologies which a city would look at when it comes to public transport or to transport. And so if you are a city with an air quality issue, you cannot just start banning your traffic all the time. You have to do something to reduce the overall emission over the next years. And what we can do is we can simulate the impact of each of those technologies on carbon emission, air quality, and we can tell a city how many jobs they would create while implementing it, and how much money they need in terms of capex, opex. And some of the issues, you know, I've been to some of the discussions with the city. What are the most common technologies suitable for our strategy? So there, you know, the transportation department came. They want to do e-mobility, e-buses, e-cars, e-taxi. Then the utilities companies come. We want to do renewables. So everything with renewable energy supply, and then the building guys want to do building retrofit. And if you as a city would do that, you need a budget like this. But if your budget is only this, you have to ask the question, where do I put my money in? And this is exactly where we help them, and all the cities you found on the list are doing exactly this kind of exercise. So we use a technology, an IoT, which is basically coming from the automation industry, automation process industry. And our idea is that we should have a platform which is able to connect to any hardware device somewhere in your city, coming from power plants, from traffic lights, wherever. And if we are able to connect to all this information, provide this data in a platform, we can then gain new intelligence in making use of this data. So this gentleman is not smiling anymore. That means I have to stop. Thank you very much. That was more or less the story. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I am the bad guy today. Okay. Thank you for your presentation. The next speaker is Munish Khetrapal. He is the Managing Director for Solutions Smart Connected Communities at Cisco. He has more than 22 years of experience in the ICT industry. So, your time.
Thank you. Just want to make sure. Mine is not a smart waste presentation, so we'll just go verbal. This is the wrong presentation. Okay. But that's fine. We'll talk a little bit. I have 5 minutes, so I'll introduce myself. I'm not presenting about smart waste, but I work for Cisco Systems. We are a $50 billion network technology company. And our goals as a company, we have been involved in smart cities for about 15 years. We started with smart buildings, and then now we have evolved to helping to solve problems in cities. There are about 20 billion different data sources that are being created in cities. They might be homes that you're metering, your cars, your buses, your traffic lights, all these signals, all this information that's being created, these 20 billion data sources, is creating value of over $3 trillion. We did an estimate in 2013 to 2015. It took us 2 years to do a full economic analysis. For 41 use cases, that's $3 trillion. Couple of simple examples. Traffic congestion, as of last year, in Europe and US alone, costed us about $500 billion. So over $2,000 to $2,500 per person was the cost of traffic congestion. And there are three major sources of traffic congestion. Of course, it's just population increase. That's one obvious source. The second source is traffic incidents. How long it takes to respond to an incident and help to elevate traffic congestion. Third is traffic intersections. How many of you have stood in a signal waiting for a car to go? And the other side is completely empty and you're waiting for 30 seconds. So when you add these three things together, that creates a whole lot of traffic congestion. Now, when you connect these intersections, you improve the flow of traffic, you can respond to incidents better. That reduces traffic congestion, which basically creates value. And that's the value, that's one aspect of value. Another example is light poles. If you think about lighting infrastructure, there are about 4 billion light poles globally. If we can save $5 per light pole per month, that's over $20 billion a year of saving that you can create. So when you add these use cases in waste, in water, in environmental pollution and collection, that's what adds up to be $3 trillion. The cornerstone of this $3 trillion value is all about real-time data. Our focus as a company has been on real-time data. And of course, there's data in rest, and it's very important. We need to know the demographics. We need to know the tax collection. We need to know where the schools are, where the housing information is. That's very important. But our focus is real-time data. And really, it's important, real-time data, if you think about it, there's a study in UK that says it takes about an average of 15 minutes whenever there's an accident for the police emergency response to reach that spot and attend to the problem. If you can reduce that by 5 or 7 minutes by having real-time data, you can save tens of thousands of lives. That's just in UK alone. And there's other studies. Imagine if you're traveling in snow and if there's a whole lot of snow ahead. If you're forewarned 5 or 7 minutes before and you can move around, you can stop or you can take another route, you can avoid a traffic incident. So having real-time data is really what's our focus as a company. And that's where we really spend all our efforts and energy. So our architecture, which we have evolved over the last many years, is really all about open ecosystems and creating business partnerships. We are a company that connects any type of a device, any sensor, in a secure manner and bring that data in a very simple manner and give it to an application and analytics capability. So what we do is we take our ecosystem partners. We don't think we are innovative. Our partners are innovative. We want to work with all types of partners, whether it's Amazon, whether it's Siemens. They are our partners. And they enable providing applications, analytics, providing sensors, innovating on sensors. What we do is we securely bring that data and provide that capability to our application companies to create these solutions that help to solve city problems. When we bring that together, combined with a business model, combined with technology companies, we provide certified partners for certified solutions to deliver certified urban services. That helps to reduce cost and risk for cities, and that helps to increase operating efficiency, improve the value for citizens. And that's really how we think about our strategy. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you to keep the time, keeping time, okay? The next speaker will be Martin Bishop. Okay, Martin Bishop is Senior Manager, Technology and Connected Devices at Amazon, UK. And he will speak about Internet of Things, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. In real cases, I think. No.
We're going to talk more about enablers.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
Hey everyone. Great, so yes, I'm Martin and I'm responsible for technical business development. So what that means is helping our customers and our partners take from problems to solutions that they can use to solve those problems. So looking at the smart city space, but many of the connected spaces in general, we kind of see these stages of evolution. So firstly, more things get connected. That generates more data and this need to respond to data in real time. And obviously anybody that's got lots of data today is trying to work out how can they exploit AI to benefit from that data. So just taking a quick step back in terms of what is AWS and Amazon Web Services. So Amazon Web Services is not the retail side of the business. This is the cloud provider. So we do work with Siemens, for example, as a partner, and their MindSphere platform utilizes some of the services running on AWS, as well as Cisco as another example. And our partners and our customers use our platform because we change a few things, and these are big things. So fundamentally, we want to reduce the cost to experiment to as close to zero as we can get it. So if you start with a system, traditionally you have to spend a lot of money to get going, get equipment, do a bunch of things. We want to enable you to do that experiment for next to no money and also be able to scale when you need to. So it's really those two elements, increasing agility. And obviously in the public sector, we have to do this in a way where we're also increasing the security posture of our customers and our partners. So looking at those few steps, so we spoke about data collection and additional data. So one of the services we provide is an IoT service. But I think it's really important as well to recognize that we have a service, but we also have partners that should you not want to use our service for some reason, you can come and use partner IoT solutions also running on top of AWS. Now, when people start collecting all of this data, we really see them transitioning from just dealing with structured data to dealing with different types of data, and in particular video today. When you combine video with artificial intelligence, you've got a really, really strong sensor. If you want to count cars, if you want to see if parking spots are occupied, you can do all kinds of things with camera feeds that you already have today. All you need is something that's intelligent enough to just look at it. So really big benefits there. And also around social media. So often smart cities, it's all about citizen experience and making life better for citizens of cities. And we've got a great way to already tap how citizens are feeling and how they are reacting to things we do in the city. So being able to process social data is really, really important. So this is another capability we provide in terms of data lakes. Then the final bit I want to talk about is machine learning. And our objective here is really quite simple. We want to put machine learning in the hands of every developer and every data scientist. We want to take it away from being something that is hype and not understood and not able to be applied to solve real problems, to a tool that people can use to, when the data is able to, solve some real world problems. And I think we've been quite successful at doing this with all of these customers. And I'm sure hopefully this slide will be twice as big next time we come and talk about it. But just to talk very quickly around what we actually do in this space is, firstly, providing infrastructure at the bottom layer to use existing frameworks and be able to train these models. Then at the second layer, platforms to help you build the models. And right at the top, these are services actually built on AI, but you don't have to use any AI at all. So Alexa, as an example, if you've heard about Echoes and Alexa, all of that is very heavily driven by AI, but you can use those services without understanding anything about the natural language processing that happens behind the scenes. So the one process that we really want to make easier is this process. And this is the process of applying machine learning. And the challenge here is you have to go through this whole cycle and you have to iterate on it. You're not done, because with machine learning, you're always getting new data, you're getting new insights, and you have to retrain your models to deal with changes in the environment, changes in data that's available to you. And to deal with this process, we've got a specific product called Amazon SageMaker. And this really helps that whole process of getting data, processing it, training models, deploying those models and using them at scale is what SageMaker is all about. So I'll stop there. That's like 5 minutes on topics we could literally spend 5 hours talking about. But if you have any questions, please come and see us at our booth. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, Martin, thank you. Very interesting approach. The next speaker is Mrs. Nele Coghe. Yeah. Nele is Product Marketing Manager at Hexagon Geospatial with more than 10 years of experience in data visualization and analytics. And she will speak about smart digital reality. Okay, I am excited to know what is it.
Thank you for the introduction. So today I will explain you how our Luciad portfolio enables a smart digital reality. And our Luciad portfolio consists of a server, a desktop, a browser, and a mobile solution. And our tagline is connect, analyze, visualize, and act. And these are our three differentiators. First of all, we directly connect to more than 200 different geospatial data formats. Secondly, we make it very easy for the user to switch between a 2D and a 3D view. And thirdly, we use the GPU of the computer to accelerate the visualization and the analysis. So this is how we do not work. We don't require any data pre-processing or an intermediate geodatabase, because again, we directly connect to any type of data, including real-time sensor data. And here you will see a video of an application that visualizes 24 hours of flight traffic. And so we start with a 2D view here, because then it gives you a very good overview. But we can also very easily switch to 3D, which we're doing now. And with the 3D view, we can have more details, for instance, about the elevation or about the airspaces. And actually here in this example, we're not only in a 3D view, but we are in 4 dimensions, because we added time as a 4th dimension. And so this visualization and analysis is made available thanks to the GPU acceleration that the technology is using. So, but how does this enable a smart digital reality? I'll give you an example in which all these data sources are used. So satellite data, but also elevation data, point clouds, 3D meshes to real-time sensor data. So the Luciad software is specialized in visualizing things that move, from planes to vessels to trains to buses, as you can see in this example. So here we are in San Francisco, and we're visualizing all data from a bus schedule in real time. Yeah, and here, for instance, you see the point clouds that are styled based upon the height of the building. But it's not just location data. In this example, we can track fuel consumption, the speeds of the buses, their next stop, and analyze the most optimized routes, for instance. And that's what a real digital reality is. It's the fusion of static and dynamic data connected to real operational systems. And if you would like to see some more of these examples, don't hesitate to pass by at our booth at number C343. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Very interesting. Maybe you need to do the same, but for Barcelona, because it's my city. Okay. And the 7th speaker is Miguel Ángel González San Román. He is Digital Solutions Director at Minsait company, an Indra company based in Madrid, I think, Spain. Okay.
And the presentation. La puso antes, se equivocó con la
pusiste antes.
La pusiste antes.
One moment.
Está,
sí. Aquí la tiene seleccionada. Sí. We have a problem.
Sí, lo pinchó ahí.
Ah, vale.
Lo dirige él.
Sí, sí.
Mira que lo vamos a hablar.
Sí. No sé. Sí, lo he repasado antes. ¿Y el vídeo también?
Sí, se abre sola. Siente la proyectada. Hello. Okay, my name is Miguel Ángel González. I'm coming from Minsait. This is the new name of Indra for IT services. Yep. So we are going to share the Smart Waste project. Okay. Okay, this is an initiative that we are doing together with Ecoembes. Maybe some of you are already familiar with Ecoembes. For those that you are not familiar, let me share some figures about them. That's the company that are running the EPR responsibility in Spain. EPR is Extended Producer Responsibility. So in fact, in the European Union, the company that put a light a light packaging in the market, then should pay for the cost of recycling this package. So Ecoembes is managing 100% of the light packaging in Spain. It's covering more than 46 million people and has a turnover around 500 million. So it's a big company. And what is even more important, it's covering more than 8,000 municipalities. I will share why this is so important. So this is a smart waste. Smart waste has some principles that make this platform a bit different. So it's basically not covering a single city, it's covering a territory. So it's when you have more than 8,000 municipalities, you can see that it is not so simple because you have very different situations. You have big cities, small cities, and you need to tackle all of them. It's covering, as you can see there, all the stakeholders. So it's covering the citizens because there's a lot of personalized communication. It's, of course, covering the local administration, also the regional administration, but also covering what the service providers companies as well. Also, we're covering the full flow of the information, so information coming from the bins for the fleet management of the collection, also the plants, and with this information, we're coming back to the citizens with personalized information. So in many cases, we're integrating information coming directly from the IoT platform, but what we are doing is standardizing this information and, let's say, extracting insights that are being applied to the full territory. Let me share a video.
Should aspire to become an ecosystem of services designed by and for the citizen. It should be capable of reallocating resources according to the people's changing needs and circumstances, a fundamental approach to the concept of circular economy. Minsait and Ecoembes introducing smart waste in response to present and future challenges of waste management. An open and collaborative platform that combines multiple sources of information to enable an impact-driven decision-making and which favours an ecosystem that encourages the ongoing learning by all stakeholders. Smart waste helps local communities to achieve a more efficient management of waste regardless of their digital maturity level. Control and optimization of services. Gives technology a new understanding on how to deliver services more efficiently and adapted to the needs of citizens. Performance monitoring enables the user to establish collective intelligence scenarios, predict demand, and anticipate the actions that the different stakeholders need to take. Perception and communication connects with citizens, involving them in the transition to a circular economy of their local community. Vision of the city combines the business and the day-to-day socio-economic information of the city to generate new insights and improve decision-making. Smart waste, building more sustainable communities.
Okay, that's the main functional content of the platform, but I want to also underline additional messages that I think that maybe make us a bit different from the traditional system or platform that you can know, probably. One is that when you need to face this different situation of cities, mature cities in some cases, but not so mature in other cases, small cities, you can imagine that is a quite different situation. You need to have a deployment scheme that is very complex. First, what we do is mapping every city with its own level of maturity. So in many cases, just collecting data, standardizing data, and adding additional layers of data of social demographic data make this city to understand much better what is happening there. And in some cases, it's enough. We don't need to add IoT because this level of sophistication is enough for several cities. In some cases, of course, it is not enough and we can go further. So for those cases, and when we need more real-time data or more granular data, for example, then we add IoT. We are sensors, or we integrate sensors that maybe they are already there. So we integrate and we set up, let's say, more a real-time management, more a data-driven management mechanism. And once we have a lot of data, of course, we can move to the next level. And the next level is the predictive governance, is using all this historical data to anticipate the reality. But this situation is different from one city or the other. Anyway, what we consider is when we play the smart city game collectively, and we do in a cloud with a common data framework, there is a lot of intelligence that can be generated, not for the city that is generating the data, but for the others that are similar to this city. So it is especially important when we face a territory. We need to understand the territory at the wider level, but also we need to populate the intelligence that we can generate to other territories that maybe are not so mature, but can leverage and take advantage of what is being learned in other territories. Is quite important. Some other lessons learned. We can see that for citizens, for example, we see that the precision marketing is absolutely common in the retail. Also, the communication, the style of communication that we need to use with the citizen should be very similar. And with these platforms, we are able to get this precision. So it's important that the messages will be very tailored and very contextualized to every situation and every citizen. It's quite important. From the regularity point of view, we also see that in many cases, the cities are still a bit reluctant to embrace cloud because they think that even in some cases the funding from the EU are not really applicable, so they need to put more on-premise. So they go to on-premise and project-based approach. We are proposing absolutely radical different thing. That is more a shared cloud, are more based on consumption of services than on implementation of technology. We are running out of time, I fear. Okay, one minute and I finish. Okay, so also for cities, we see that there are two different models of managing the city. Big cities is more a data-driven model because of the incredible amount of data and knowledge that we can generate. But for the smaller cities also, that typically are absolutely out of the smart city world, they can take advantage, they can do things more, less sophisticated maybe, more standardized, but useful in the end. So why not to do that? And of course, always the question is, but the service companies maybe will be reluctant as they, let's say they are losing the control of the situation. These systems bring more transparency. Our understanding is it's not so in that way, because in many cases also the lack of transparency are not good for them. Once we put raw data and factual data, they are also able to bid more precisely and have less risk, so it is also beneficial for them. So, okay, that's we are doing in Spain. We're extending to other countries in Europe, as basically the objectives are the same. The current situation are also quite common, both in industry and in the government. So our plan is now, as we are working with the Commission, to extend to other countries in Europe and also abroad in other places. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Miguel Ángel. Now it's time for questions from the audience. Okay, we have 6 minutes.
Hello, my question is for Mr. Klaus. Yes, I don't remember your surname. Sorry. So when you've talked about predicting pollution, maybe in 3 days in advance, I don't know if this is already being done. And also I would like to ask, what solutions could you get about that? How can we solve that problem? We see that in 3 days there will be pollution in an area of the city. What could we do about that?
Okay, good question. So, yeah, as I said, the problem today is that every city has too many cars, unlimited space. And then when the weather conditions are bad, you run in some of the exceedance. You know that the European Union is now putting pressure, so they have to pay penalty, the cities, if they exceed. So, and there are basically two kinds of emissions. One is what is called nitrogen oxide. This is mainly coming from diesel engines. So this is all about related to diesel ban. The other huge particulate emission is coming from the brakes and from the gum of wheels. This is what is called particulate matters. So the nitrogen oxide can be solved with UV, with the sunlight, while the particulate matters can be solved when it's raining. So that means it's very strong influence by the weather. So, and what is helpful for a city, so for instance, if a polluted city like Stuttgart in Germany or Beijing, if they would know that on Friday, because of weather conditions, they run into a problem with nitrogen oxide or with particulate matters, they can set a different kind of action. Either reduce traffic or, for instance, make public transport free of charge that day, close big car parks in the city, so that people really change their behavior, how to commute. So there's, and as I said, there are many, let's say, short-term levers you could activate as a city. Is this answering your question? Great.
Okay, sorry, but the organizer said that it's time. Even here it's not time. We have 4 minutes, okay, but it's time. So thank you for being here, and thank you the speakers to do the presentation keeping time, okay. If you want, we can follow the discussion out of this room because there is another session now, and have a nice Congress. See you.